Hi everyone, welcome back to Medical Morons. Ugh, Today is a very interesting, vulnerable episode because I had to meet this doctor in some unfortunate circumstances. So we get into it a little in the episode, but basically I received some botched Botox and that led to my eye being paralyzed. It was like a really good look, really, really fun couple of months. And so obviously I was panicking and I went to Dr. Glodny and he did another injection in my eyelid and this made a really big difference. Unfortunately, this is not a reversible condition. So, um just a PSA, keep that in mind for people who are getting Botox, but he really, really helped it so much and just so good and just a good guy and like totally someone you want to be treated by. He listens, he respects you, and he clearly has such a successful practice. He's a board certified dermatologist in New York City and owner of Park Avenue Dermatology. And we really, really enjoyed talking to him. And he really saved me from a horrible look to looking like relatively okay. So, yeah, we had so much fun.
Isn't
I
he
thought he
great?
was very good guest. Yeah,
Ugh, I
really,
love him. I just like want to be besties with him.
and I think that's part of the secret of his success is that he covers it A to Z.
Yeah.
I'm sure, based on his credentials, he's a very skilled physician, but he clearly takes an interest more broadly in the whole patient experience and their welfare and the interaction.
And he was so candid about everything, He's not saying, this comes naturally to me. He was just very honest that it made starting a practice feel like if you get the opportunity, you take it. The other thing that he really highlighted for me, sometimes when I'm listening to all these owners who are talking about their practice and, it's so stressful. They're working all the time. And I'm like, why the fuck are you opening your own practice if it's so stressful? Like, why not be an associate forever, especially if you're in derm and you're making so much money? But he makes it really clear the importance, not just financially, but you can tell he's so much happier as a practice owner than he was as an associate.
Sure, and I think at the end of the day, it's a lifestyle choice. Some people want other aspects of living to have greater prominence, and others really are ready to, jump in with both feet and build a practice and get a lot of enjoyment. And I think that in hearing him, he clearly enjoys, all the other aspects of
He
owning your
like
own
gamifies
business.
it. It's like
Yeah.
really gratifying, which I could so see for myself. And what I also like is that many of our guests come in and they're like, I knew I wanted to be a business owner. I want control. I want flexibility, blah, blah, blah. He was not like that at all. He was like, I was working and I needed to pivot because it wasn't working for me. So I like just hearing you don't have to know your whole life that you want to be this business owner. You can adapt and he's young and I have so many more questions for him. I really do. So
I
he
could
was great.
tell. Really good guest. Really good guest.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the conversation a lot.
So let's welcome Dr. Bradley Glodny to the podcast.
I love. I'm catching in the daddy daughter.
This is our way to catch up. Otherwise, he doesn't talk to me on the phone that much.
This is so cool. I know I said this to you already, but like this is so cool that you guys get to do this.
It's so fun.
We've been having fun. Nice to meet you,
Nice to
Dr.
meet you.
Glodny. How are you?
I'm doing well. I have a little bit of cold today, so like I apologize.
All good.
So,
Me too.
By any chance, just looking at what's behind you, are you in dermatology?
Oh yeah,
You.
you didn't know?
Wait, I need to know, is this your personal stash
No,
or
just honestly, like it's all crap. It's all crap. It's all I just I needed something to take the space, and it just made sense.
um
But yeah,
it's
you can
like
have as much
your
as you want.
souvenirs.
You
Okay,
can
I
have as
mean,
much or as
I'm
little
gonna
as you
hold
want.
you to that. So
Yeah, for sure.
next time I'm there. So this is Dad. This is my knight in shining armor in a different
Oh,
sense
but
of the word.
I see it's still happening though. It's
It's
still
still happening.
yeah.
I know.
Okay.
It's not great. I mean, I told my dad it's because I'm like looking down more, so it's worse than when
Oh,
I look up.
gotcha.
And I wear the glasses. They're not even real glasses. So,
Oh, is that why? Okay.
yeah, it's
Okay.
actually looking way worse today. It usually looks
Yeah, because I think
better.
that the picture you sent me it looks a little better.
My dad's like so disappointed in me that I
Why, Dad?
Well, she's got beautiful skin,
Totally.
and she doesn't. I didn't think she needed any, enhancement to begin with. So I wasn't very happy with
And
her.
then when he heard I was going to a student run clinic, he didn't like that as either. But I told
Yes,
him he can pay for my Botox with you.
yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Dad. Hello.
Which is always, Kylie is always helpful on that kind of thing in terms of offering up us paying. So it sounds, Brad, can I call you Brad or would you
Yeah,
prefer Dr.
Bradley,
Glodny?
Brad, whatever. No,
Bradley.
don't call
Okay.
me Dr. Glodny, please.
Okay. Bradley. So it sounds like you're from the New York area. Is that right?
So I'm from Long Island, originally a place called the Five Towns. I went to college at Emory in Atlanta. I then came back up north to my MD at SUNY Upstate. It's in Syracuse. It's a state school, very affordable. And then I did all my training, like my intern year, and then my 3 years of dermatology at Mount Sinai in New York City.
So I really want to get into like you're a resident and then looking for a job. Was that hard? Did you know people? Kind of that really
Okay, cool. Yeah.
transition from resident to practice owner.
Okay, great. And I definitely have opinions, and I have a lot to say.
Please, please.
The best thing about life is like being super honest about things.
Okay, perfect.
And how much personal life do we want in this?
I want to hear it all. I want to hear
Okay.
whatever affected where you are today.
Okay, so I was in residency, and it just so happened that there was this practice downtown in Tribeca, and on paper, it just seemed like right where I wanted to be. So it seemed like a great opportunity, and I don't want to get into too many details, but anyway, I ended up there, and I effing hated it. I was so miserable. And this is not to say that there are other doctors working there that are happy. It was just not for me, not where my brain can
What
grow.
didn't you like about it?
It was too high turnover, too unpredictable. There was no management. Staff was just like super disrespectful to the physicians. There was no hierarchy. There was very little respect. And like on a given day, you walk in and have no idea like what you're walking into, like whether like the office manager is going to hate you, whether your MA is going to start a fight with you, or you're going to have 99 patients, exaggeration, it's your schedule without any consent from you, and you're going to be totally overwhelmed. But for a while, I felt like that was the place I needed to be. So I stuck around like way too long, where towards the end, I was becoming resentful and being mean to my husband and just treating people not well because I wasn't happy at my workspace.
How
So
long did you stay there?
like 6 years, something like that. And it was until COVID, I had an aha moment when I thought to myself, why am I not just going somewhere else? And then I guess I was afraid of the unknown, you know? So then I went somewhere else and I was like, oh my God, dermatology can be done this way. That was definitely a stepping stone for me. And it's also some advice I give to younger generations of doctors. If you can use the word hate in the same sentence as your job, get the F out. Like, get out. Like, life is short. You need to be happy. Like, sadly enough, we work more with our coworkers and in our job than we do with our actual family. You can't be miserable. There has to be like at least a middle ground where maybe you don't love it, but you like it. But then I found someone else on the Upper East Side. It was more of a boutique kind of practice, less patients, more time with your patients. It just seemed more of like a family like environment. So then I was working there for about a year and a half. And while I was working there, I was relatively happy. But when you're working for someone else, like there's silver linings, but there's also things like that are not great. Like you can't control everything that you want to control. You know, like, and I guess I've learned about myself over the past few years is that I do like to have things the way that I like them. Right.
Yeah.
So there was that lingering feeling of like, there's something more, you know, that I need. And I want to feel more satisfied with my life and work. And the opportunity came about where a dermatologist that I used to work with when I was a resident at Mount Sinai, Dr. Roth, he was retiring. And he emailed me one day, hey, I want to talk to you about something. I'm retiring. I want to know if you want to take over my practice. And my initial thought was I just moved to another office. It seemed extremely scary and daunting. And I was like a little wary of it at first, but I met with him, spoke to him for a little while. And then I just, I thought to myself, like, this is the time I'm going to jump ship into this opportunity and take it head on. Otherwise, I'll never know. I'll never know if I could be a dermatologist that is a dermatologist, but then also is a business person. And honestly, it's been the best decision of my career thus far. So my job became seeing patients to now seeing patients, but also having a say in what the heck goes on in a real meaningful way, which I think is amazing.
So when you were having the conversation to go into this practice and ultimately succeed the existing doc, what was that like? Did you go to somebody else to get some guidance, or did you just go with your instinct and sort of figure it out on the fly?
I actually like having this conversation because now I'm able to digest what happened. But so for the first few meetings, like we met a bunch of times, myself, Dr. Roth, and Dr. Warner, and really the first few meetings were just having drinks at a bar, getting to know each other, seeing if we had like-minded stories and situations. And one of the main things that drew me to the practice really was that I'm a gay guy. I treat lots of gay men, lots of gay patients. I treat everyone, but also lots of gay men. And I love that about my job. Like I love being a place where a gay person can come in and be like ultra honest with like whatever the heck is going on in their world, their life, how they got this rash, whatever, And one of the things that actually I love about this place is that this was one of the only dermatology private practices around in the early 1980s when the AIDS epidemic was happening. And so like these doctors, Dr. Roth and Dr. Warner, were seeing the first AIDS patients and being like, what the hell is going on here? Ground zero. So I love the history of it. And I love like bearing the torch kind of. So that was one thing that I really appreciated about it. And I kind of wanted to be part of that. Then we got along well. We all had like-minded lifestyles and personalities, and then the real conversations began, which was aided by a practice transition coordinator, and he was able to help me evaluate their practice worth. Like there's a formula, and then they were basically a cash only practice. So like there's different formulas for insurance based businesses, and there's formulas for cash only.
Sorry, but when you're talking about formulas, you're referring to like a multiple of revenue or profit, or
exactly.
So insurance practice probably has a more discounted valuation than a full fee for service.
You know what? That's what I would have thought as well. But not with cash only, these patients are paying to see this personality, like this specific doctor. So as soon as they leave, it's like these patients aren't necessarily coming back to where they were.
Right.
They're going to other, private practices on the Upper East Side with other dermatologists that were recommended from their friends, let's say. Whereas for some reason, insurance-based businesses, I guess the patients will come back because they're limited to some.
It's stickier.
So that practice coordinator was a huge help. He would, he was on both of our teams, and I know that sounds funny, but spoke to both of us together and then separately, and then got us all on the same page. I was still unsure if it made sense financially, to be honest, because I did very well working for someone else. But I decided to take the jump and go for it. And without really knowing if I was going to make more money, make less money, or whatever, I'm happy I went off. Another thing that I learned is you need your specialists. It's like you do orthodontistry, you, Michael, you're the lawyer. I'm a dermatologist. I'll take care of your skin. You do my taxes, you do my law, etc., or you do my orthodontics. But I really found, and like this was a difficult part for me. I really found it was hard to extract the information that I needed from these people. Like I just didn't feel like their heart was in it. Like so, I was left to make a lot of decisions kind of on my own with like a lot of gray areas. So like things like rent. Like I had a lawyer. I didn't really do heavy negotiating with the rent. The rent I kind of think was a little on the higher, and then it should have been, but I signed it. And definitely one point I would kind of rewind and redo would be like making sure that I was getting the most out of my specialists.
One thing that we've heard from a couple of the guests who were in practice for a while is that they ended up buying real estate, or if they didn't over a course of 25, 30 years, regretted not buying real estate.
Not buying it.
Because that when they penciled out how much they had spent in rent over that 25, 30-year period, it's, millions of dollars. And they said, if I had started thinking about purchasing the office real estate, I would have benefited economically.
Like I know, like the increase in the value of the property of a commercial space isn't quite the same as the residential space, is what I've been told anyway. But still, the appreciation of that property also would be much higher.
Well, now it's probably, given that the office market is, kind of gotten really hit since COVID, it's probably, and I don't give investment advice, obviously, but it's probably not a bad time to take a look at that.
Yeah. So, and that's also part of my story. Also, is I actually just purchased the space next door,
Oh.
Like by just, I mean a year ago. So we're actually expanding. We're opening up the middle, and like we're gonna have more doctors, more providers, more services, more everything. So it's exciting, but it's like get excited and wait. That's like kind of what it is.
So that expansion decision is
Yeah,
also, in addition to buying in at decision, which I'm sure you were probably, a newbie, and so you were learning for the first time. Now that you're coming to the decision to expand your practice, that has an additional capital investment component associated with
sure.
it. Talk about how you made that decision and what kind of analysis you undertook.
Well, again, like same idea. Like a lot of this is intuition, and one, of course, knowing I'm doing well, like knowing I can support my family, knowing that there's money that's going into the bank, and my savings are increasing, but also just knowing that I want more. I want evolution. And then serendipitously, the space next door became available, and I remember talking to him. He was a periodontist and super sweet guy. I saw him even as a patient, and I gave him a lowball offer. And I was like, you know what? I might be interested. Here's my offer. He was like, no. And then 6 months later, 8 months later, he came back to me and was like, let's do it. And I said to myself already, if he says yes, I will do it. And he said yes. I, of course, had my accountants look at my financials and just make sure this isn't the most idiotic decision in the world. And it turns out they were like, do it, go for it. It's definitely not a bad idea. And so I went for it.
So I saw on your website, and I follow you obviously on Instagram, that you have a lot of like media experience. And this is always
Yeah.
so interesting to me how that role came about. And can you talk a little bit about if that's helped you, if that's something you focus on? A lot of our listeners are trying to make it on social media, trying to bring patients in that way. And I don't know anyone really who has done it successfully, like personally.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say like I'm necessarily successful at it. Uh, but it's for me, this is all it's like super honest. It's a necessary evil, you know? Like for my entire life, I just wanted to be a doctor. Like I just wanted to be a doctor providing the best care that I can and having that patient relationship and just seeing patients and being able that's how I wanted to support my family and my life and everything. And it became like blatantly clear that like in New York City especially, you got to do everything to compete. And so like I was really reluctant to start it, and I started it later than I should have. So started early, like started like get comfortable in the get comfortable in the front of the camera, talking to the camera, feeling like you have like this voice. Find your voice like early on, and just have no shame. Like just don't be embarrassed. Like
Right.
another friend of mine told me a nice thing once, and he's a dermatologist, and I was just talking to him like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, like embarrassed putting myself out there. And he's like, and he said, why? I was like, I'm afraid what my friends are going to say. And he said to me, they're not paying your bills. Like, so don't listen to what they have to say. And if they're your friends, like they'll support you. They'll
So
share.
true.
So Bradley, speak a little bit more specifically about what you do in terms of social media marketing, branding, what your strategy is, things of that nature.
And
So
do
you,
you have any like partnerships where you're, promoting Cetaphil or something and you get a percentage? Like, do you have anything outside, like a side hustle type of thing?
I definitely have side hustles. One, I'm a medical director for cosmetic, like esthetician spa chain. So that's one thing I do on the side. So whenever there's an issue with one of their patients, like they call me up, we walk through it, we go through the pictures, etc. That's one thing. But social media wise, so like I'm very particular with who I work with, what I work with. I don't do there's something called pay and play, where like they'll pay you to mention a product, but like you're doing it as if it's organic. I don't do that. Like I won't mention something for money, unless it's like, okay, I am speaking about this for this specific reason. They give me the information, I digest it, I figure out if I believe it or not, and then I will go there and work with them to, create some media. So I've been doing that with L'Oreal Pharmaceuticals more recently. I'm also like advising a pharmaceutical company called Fidia, which is amazing. And because I really believe in their product, it's this hyaluronic acid small particle technology, and I love it. And then I also work with pharmaceutical company Galderma, and I give lectures for a bunch of their medications and products and stuff like that.
And
And
how did these
how did these
Yeah.
opportunities come about? How did you connect with these companies?
I think, so if you asked me a year and a half, 2 years ago, even, like, do you want to be on TV? Like, do you want to be like, well, I spoke to a PR firm about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I was like, hey, I just want to be a successful doctor. I said like all the wrong things. Like, I just want to see patients. I want to be a successful doctor.
they're
Like,
like, why are you coming to me?
they helped me. And they just gave me like all these different, like, every time there was a request for a quote from a dermatologist, they gave me like a million articles to answer questions. And I did it for like a good 6 months. I was like, this is like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? It's got its importance in some way for your website, for backlinks and stuff like that, but it's like not getting me anywhere. So then I paused that, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give social media a real shot. I am now in a place where, like, if you ask me, what do you want? Like, I want to be as successful as I possibly can be in dermatology, but also in media. Like, I want to do interviews. I want to do podcasts, maybe have my own podcasts. I want to just be successful and learn new things, and that's where my brain is at now, and keep it interesting for me. I always want to be happy at work. And so that's where I'm looking to get into what I'm looking to get into now. And the first few things happened because I was just active on social media, and people saw videos that I was making, and they're like, oh, this guy seems okay and nice and cool and somewhat smart, and like, let's hire him for something. And the first few were like really awkward and funny.
But you think they found you like, so I have some videos on social media, but like no one's reaching out to me. Like, what do you think you had that
Let's
people?
talk about your videos. I think
My
it
PR
also,
firm right here is right here. If that wasn't clear.
sad. I also don't know how effective this was, but I also have just done cold DMing, like
Okay.
cold calling, like it's just like DMing a bunch of people and just getting involved. And then also, it's a huge resource, really getting to know your pharmaceutical reps. They can always help you out with the medication side of things and like get patients free medications, but they also can connect you with their medical liaisons and other people in the industry. And that's how I started working with Galderma. I became closer with the reps. I asked them, like, let me get involved. It'll be great for you guys. I can do this. I can do that. And then eventually it happened. And knowing when to speak to them. So at the end of each year, the beginning of the new year, they reset their KOLs, their speakers, and that's the best time to get on their radar. And then just people just organically started reaching out to me. I got a bunch of opportunities that are in the works right now, just organic. Like I started working with SkinCeuticals literally a month ago.
A dream.
They were like, we love you, and not to toot my own. Maybe don't post this. We
That's
love
okay.
you. In the middle of the shoot, they're like, we love you. Let's hire you again for next month. And now I have this like hopefully recurring thing with them, and then
that SkinCeuticals is like the best of products. Like that is
it's science based. So like as a doctor, like I feel comfortable promoting it. It's not a bad name to be associated with,
No.
The very next day, someone asked me to be on a TV show. It didn't work out, but they kept my number and like,
yeah, it's good to have connections.
It might work out. And turning from like a no maybe man to a yes man is what made a big difference.
How much time do you spend a week on your practice and all these adjacent type of activities?
What's 24/7 times 7? Minus sleep, a little sleep. I'm always working. Like I'm always working. Like my husband and I now have a family. We have two small kids, which is everyone have kids. Kids are the best in the world. Have kids when you're ready to have kids. But we were both really ready to have kids. So now like I get home, like there's like 2 or 3 hours I have with them before they go to bed. So I really try to not do anything during that time. But as soon as they go to bed, I am maybe in front of the TV, sometimes having a glass of wine, but I'm working. I'm working on the website. I am sending emails that I couldn't get to during the day. I am looking through my A&R accounts. There's just like it's a never ending stream of work.
And does that feel like work to you, or are you engaged in it that it's just you're enjoying it?
So the thing that I also most worried about when I was taking the jump from working for someone else to working for myself, I was like, there's all these people say like, oh, it's for yourself. All of a sudden, you'll feel like it's different, and I was skeptical of that. But let me tell you, I enjoy it. Like I enjoy being creative. I enjoy the back end process. like even with this pharmaceutical company that I'm now working with, it's like they want to know like what I think and why I think and how to approach doctors. And I love brainstorming. Like I love thinking of like the e-blasts every month and like what's a funny code we can tell patients to use at the front. And it's going to be ridiculous that people are saying laser daddy now. Like I love that.
Yeah.
Like, it totally doesn't feel like work. Like and to think of where I was a few years ago, where work was so work, and to think where I am now, it sounds cheesy, but it's lovely.
So one question that I like to ask, and you're still sort of not at the early stage of your career, but you're kind of just hitting now the what I would think is sort of a sweet spot in terms of
Totally.
the next 10 to 20 years are you really kind of heyday type thing. But
Like,
is there anything already that you've learned that you wish you knew earlier in your career and had the benefit of that?
um, yeah, absolutely. There's so much, and this brings me back to a point. Like a lot of times people get in their head, they're like, I don't regret anything I ever did. Like I don't regret anything like in life. Like I'm happy I did it. But like that also to me means that like you're not learning from your mistakes. Like I regret tons of stuff I've done. And I would say the most important thing that I want to tell any young physician or any young person, like just be happy at work. Like find a way to be happy at work because it is not worth your time and energy being miserable because it will bleed into your life. It will bleed into your personal life and the way that you interact with your friends and people and etc. And that's my number one thing. And the other thing more like material would be make sure that as a doctor now, make sure wherever you're going has the appropriate EMR that you're going to be happy with using and that you will flourish with and also that will be able to be utilized in a way that like is making your life easier.
Is
Work
there that
smarter,
much variation? Like, I feel like there is.
work smarter, not harder necessarily.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, there is, and I think there's becoming less and less now because everything is like now we have we have a EMR called EasyDerm. I love it. It's iPad based, so I have a medical assistant in my room with me. They're doing the note as I'm speaking. Hope we as they work in the office longer, we get to know each other. We get to know how we both work, and things get more and more efficient. And but there is variation. It's a super important question.
Any like mistakes maybe you made like in the beginning where you were like, I should have hired this person or
I
um
should have gotten into social media sooner.
yeah.
I should have taken leaps of faith sooner. I should have trusted my gut sooner. Like know when to leave somewhere. Like know when it's not right for you. Trust in yourself. Like you know, it sounds cheesy, but like everything always turns out for the best. I truly believe that if you're a hard worker and you mean well, you will find your place. And that's what's happened to me in many ways, and hopefully that's what will continue to
Love
happen.
that.
Yeah.
All right, two last questions, and these are like a
Yeah.
little less business based. One is specific for dermatologists because I have an interest in my skin, obviously.
You have great
Um,
skin, by the way.
Thank you. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. The Botox helped, Dad. I'm not gonna lie. Um, that's the thing. People are
Botox
like looking.
is best used preventatively.
Yes, exactly.
Like
Uh,
preventatively, like I'm talking like just when you start to see those lines form, like that's when you go and see your board certified dermatologist.
Board certified. Yeah, we'll work on that. But okay, so like I asked Dr. Westbay like what her favorite things on a budget were, but I want to ask you something different. Is there maybe like, there's so much out there on Instagram, on social, TikTok, whatever. What are some either like fads or things that are talked about, gua sha or neck care or just things that, are all out there and ever that you can actually support and be like, you should be doing this or like that are kind of easy, cheaper ways to maintain your skin health or longevity?
The answer to that is so easy, and it's so boring though.
Sunscreen?
Sunscreen, like
I knew it.
sunscreen is the fountain of youth. I really truly realized how important sunscreen was when I think I was like chief resident at Sinai. I was finishing my last year, and one of the perks of being a senior, you have a choice to go to the Aspen Ideas Festival, and it is this amazing festival. Like all the world, like leaders, thought leaders on all different fields are there talking, and like it was so cool. But from Sinai, we were there doing skin exams, like on the cuff, off the cuff, full body skin exams. We would see like 20, 30 patients a day. So there was obviously a lot of people who spent a lot of time in Aspen there, which is very high altitude, and they're very active. These people were in excellent shape, but the quality of their skin was so poor because of the sun exposure. They're hiking in the summer, they're skiing in the winter, and a lot of these older generations were not using any sunscreen, and their skin was just so leathery and so sun damaged. After that, I really personally realized how important sunscreen was. Not to mention that we did find a lot of skin cancers in these people. So sunscreen is the holy grail of anti-aging. That is the absolute most important thing. And definitely use sunscreen on a daily basis. But if you're getting any influence from social media that's telling you not to use sunscreen, like just that everything they say is baloney.
All right. Well, what about, is there anything that's like more of a fad thing? Can we try that? Because I do use sunscreen. So
good. But honestly, that is the most important thing.
okay.
A fad thing that I think is actually helpful. So much of it is baloney.
What about like I have a red light mask? Is that something that people should be investing in?
I have one myself. I also have one for my hair. I think it's the cherry on top of the sundae. It's not the only treatment you should be doing. It's in conjunction with other things. So yeah, red light therapy is great. Is cool.
Okay.
I would say let's say snail mucin, right? It's a moisturizer. It has some exfoliative properties. Sure.
I have that on my shelf right now.
Yeah. Like what's it called? What's the brand again?
It's from Amazon. I don't know, but someone told me to get it.
So that's it's not like you're reinventing the wheel there, but it sounds funny and funky, and
yeah,
it was trendy for a little while, and it's gonna moisturize your skin.
Got it. I'm a sucker for fads, so
don't buy it. Don't buy it.
I know, but the SkinCeuticals.
Patients like, okay, so here's my hierarchy in terms of what works. Sunscreen, vitamin A retinoid, not the over-the-counter retinol stuff, the retinoid prescription.
Yep.
Then vitamin C antioxidants. So like your SkinCeuticals, CE, ferulic acid, etc. It protects against the outside world and free radicals. And then it's moisturizer, face wash, and like that is it. Plus Botox.
Okay. Plus Botox. Okay, great. I'm on a good track then. Okay, last question. Any funny stories from when you were either in practice or residency or med school that you can kind of share?
It's not sexy. I don't think it's LOL funny, but just like there's a lot of like controversial stuff that can happen around here.
Yeah.
We get to know our patients, so we hear you listen to a gay man's like health history and stories, like you're gonna hear some. The MAs here are like, what's that? Like, what is that word? What was that? Like they learn so much about like gay health and culture. I guess that's kind of funny. But one of the most bizarre things that happened to me. So I've been seeing this patient for a very long time, and I guess he has a family, right? He has a family, his siblings, and everything like that. And I've been seeing for a long time. Sweet, sweet, sweet man. And then all of a sudden, like, I walk in and it's him. He's there, and I just didn't realize. I was like, "Hey, what's going on, etc. Like, how are you?" And he's like, "My name's not." And I was like, "Ah, that's funny. Like, what do you mean?" And he's like, "My name's blah." And I like, stop. We've done this.
We know each other, yeah.
We know each other. It was his twin, his identical twin, and they didn't know that we were both going to see me. Like they had no idea. So
wait, that's so crazy.
It was so bizarre because then I like felt like I violated HIPAA. I was like, "Your brother comes to see me. Like this is so weird." And and he was a patient that like we just always got along so well that it was like funny that him of all people, that's who would be.
That's really funny. Okay, this has been so much fun.
It's been so fun. I love this.
Where can people find you? How can they see you? Find you on Instagram? All the things.
Okay, so my handle is Dr_Bradley_Glodny on Instagram. And my website is www.parkderm.com. And you can find me there. Come in to see us as a patient. We'll take amazing care of you. All of our doctors here are amazing. Dr. Warner, Dr. Queen, our goal is to make sure that the patient is holistically treated. So come and see us. We're happy to see you.
Love that. I definitely felt that. So, all right. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Great. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. It was lovely.
Yes. I hope to see you soon with my Botox.
Keep me in the loop. Let me know how you're doing.
I will. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice time.
Take care. Bye-bye.